He was more of, oh, god damn it, I didn't hit record on the goddamn fucking... Oh, my God. Okay,
Woo!
take two.
Take two. Hello, Albuquerque.
In those days, it was 41, so there was a lot of racism.
I'm a Boeing 737 first officer.
I did a lot of research, and I recommend everyone do the same.
And now all of a sudden you're addicted,
Right.
literally to heroin.
Where were you born? I was born in Cambridge, England.
Well, both my parents were drug addicts.
Okay, now we're fucking recording. Great. Okay, let me try that intro again. Welcome, everybody, to another episode. And I know at the beginning of every one of these podcasts, I say I have another special guest. Well, today is no different. I have a very special guest with me today, Eric Nusbaum, best friend Eric Nusbaum, who's been my longest running best friend since we were little kids. And we're going to discuss that real quick. Oh, look at that. Did you do that?
I got fireworks.
That's fantastic. All right, so
Nice.
before I had to restart the podcast because I didn't hit record in the intro here, we were discussing how we met in 6th grade at Pinon Elementary School. And I also told you how Dax Shepard, who is the host of Armchair Expert, is probably my favorite podcaster. And he has his best friend, Aaron Weekly, who they met when they were 12 years old. Well, you are my Aaron Weekly. Eric Nusbaum, Aaron Weekly, just right on track. So we met, you said you moved halfway through the year of 6th grade to Santa Fe and started going to Pinon, correct?
Yeah, why did I move? Oh, yeah, my parents got divorced, and we moved out to the sticks of Santa Fe,
Yep.
and I left, where was I going to school? Kearney. I was going to Kearney Elementary, and then we moved, and then I had to go to Pinon, and that sucked, because, the end of middle of my 6th grade year, and I had been at that school, my previous school, for years and had all my friends established and everything. And
Kearney.
just one day, here's your new school.
Huh.
Congratulations.
I didn't know you were at Kearney. That's crazy. Oh, anyway, we moved from California to Santa Fe, back to Santa Fe, and I just happenstance ended up in your class towards the end of the 6th grade year and didn't know anybody, didn't have any friends. Started talking to this kid, Fidel, who you were hanging out with at the time, and Fidel introduced me to you. Now, he introduced me to you as Stoner. This is my friend Stoner. And I was like, not sure that's the kind of type of people I want to be hanging out with. But
that was really weird, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was, because through getting to know you, that was not your personality at all. You didn't smoke weed. You weren't like a stoner. You just, I guess, maybe that's his nickname for you because of your personality, which was unlike anybody. Very unique. Which was very much the draw for me to you. That's why I stuck around. I was like, oh, this kid, I'm fucks with this kid. This kid knows what's up. Now, another thing I want to talk about, and this is big to me. This really drew me to you as a person. Your style was fucking phenomenal. Unlike anybody else I had ever encountered in my life. It wasn't a long life, 12 years or whatever, but I had never met anybody who was like, everybody else was a typical cookie cutter person, wanted to be like everybody else. And you were the exact opposite. You were running around that place like, oh, you're wearing baggy pants? I'm going to wear some tight pants. Fuck you.
My mom didn't want me wearing baggy pants.
No, okay, well, I mean, I wasn't using that as a specific. I was just,
But yeah, so dial it back here, that was, mid 90s when, the whole hip hop rap culture was like exploding, and good, bad, or otherwise, however you want to look at it. Like, it was a very, very influential time for a lot of people.
Totally.
And then at the same time, you had, the grunge and rock and metal, like, completely changing its face from like what it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was just so much conflict in music that you either wanted to be these people or you wanted to be the exact opposite of those people. And I just wanted to be me.
And you absolutely were. I commend you.
We grew up in a place where the Hispanic culture was very strong, very proud.
Yeah.
And that combined with all the outside influences like made it really difficult for individuals to find themselves, I think.
That's an understatement. That's
Yeah, probably.
very
But I just
factual.
wanted to be me. And you see it differently than I do because I was just being a dumb kid running around and having a good old time. And
Wow.
That absolutely is true. 100%. But you absolutely pulled it off. You were you. Like there is no other Eric Nusbaums. There was nobody with
No.
even a similar hint, an inkling of that style. Like, dude, I remember going shopping with you and your mom. Shout out to your mom. I love her. She's amazing. She was my second mom, by the way. Like the first real second mom I ever had, and she was your mom's the best. Anyway, I remember going shopping with you guys. We went to JCPenney. Do you remember that? It used to be a store. For all you people out there who don't know what JCPenney is.
That used to be like the place to go. That and Dillard's.
Yes.
Like that's where top of the line stuff was at.
On that note, do you remember Anchor Blue?
Yes, I do.
Love Anchor Blue. Anyway.
Anchor Blue.
Yeah.
They're the best jeans.
Yes, by far. I agree. Now, I went with you guys one time to JCPenney, get some school clothes, and your mom treated me like her kid too, which was freaking crazy. Like I had never experienced that, but she was like, "You go pick some clothes too," and I was like, "What? Why?" Like, my mom buys me clothes too. Like, what do you mean? She wasn't having it. She made me go pick an outfit too. But you picked out. I picked out some basic bitch shit like everybody else was wearing. I wasn't being anything unique, bro, and I commend you for hanging out with me because I was so opposite of what you were. Now you picked, if I remember correctly, I picked like a Orlando Magic t-shirt and just a basic pair of blue jeans, and you picked some plaid, red plaid, like pajama pants, and like a cutoff vest or something. It was just absurd, and I was like, I would never pick that, but it's fucking phenomenal. You wore it so well, and you fearlessly walked the halls of our school, and people were like, "Oh, this kid is fucking awesome!" Like the confidence you exude was just absolutely phenomenal, absolutely.
Yeah, well, they weren't pajama pants. That's unfortunately the youth of today that wears that crap. That's
Okay,
but they were golf pants. They were like golfers' pants. They were just instead of being, denim or cotton jean material, they were just plaid fabric, and
yeah, you're absolutely right.
So comfortable.
And so they looked great with we were discussing this the other day with your Tricks shirt.
Oh my god, shirt.
How you had, bro, I'm just saying, like nobody will ever have the style that you had. It was so awesome. Now,
do you remember I used to wear just ties with my t-shirts?
Yep. I mean, who could forget?
I think that's in my yearbook photo. Is I'm wearing that vest and a tie.
Possibly. I mean, regardless, it was awesome, and I really respected you for being so different. I think in a way I sort of admired your courage and admired that you had the ability to do that when nobody else did, even myself. And I hung out with you. Like I was by proxy probably had a pass to be able to do that, but I couldn't have pulled it off. Like it wouldn't have looked right. I would have looked like I was trying. I was posing. So I just posed the way I'd always posed. Now, going back to those days, wait, real quick before we move on, where did you get that sense of style? What possessed you?
I honestly don't know. I mean, still to this day, like I see something I like and I just want to wear it. Like I don't really care if it matches or whatever. I just throw it on.
Yeah, buddy. That's what's up. Now, 6th grade, we go through that year, whatever. I remember the next summer, like, because we only had a couple of months at the beginning of me moving there that we sort of bonded and whatnot. And then we had that first summer. And that first summer, we spent probably every single day at the mall. Remember walking the mall?
Yeah. When I could get my mom to bring me into town, yeah. Quite often.
Yep. And then
I was that young.
I wish.
Still go to the mall.
Yeah. The mall was awesome. That's such a That's such a thing of the past because I don't think kids nowadays do that. I mean, maybe a few, but it's not like it used to be. Like that used to be the cool. There in Santa Fe, there was the cruise line if you were old enough to drive, and there was the mall if you weren't. It was the walk line. Good
Yeah.
times though.
I don't. I mean, is that mall still alive?
So
It's still a lit mall. I don't know. Was the carousel still there? That's what I want to miss. I miss that carousel. I miss arcades and the carousel. I miss arcades a whole lot.
Jets.
Jets. Is
Jets
that what it's
Arcade.
called?
Yeah, you don't remember the big Boeing cockpit that they had in there? You don't remember that?
Nope. I just remember Silent Scope.
Fair enough. Yeah, it was called Jets Arcade. I met Sinbad in there, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, he was playing a zombie game or something, and I rudely interrupted him and asked to shake his hand. And he was nice enough to not blow me off. He did. He shook my hand and went back to his game. I was like, that's cool. But the carousel, interesting enough, was there. Then they got rid of it and remodeled the mall. Then they brought it back on a second remodel. But it's hasn't been Via Linda Mall for years. It is the Santa Fe Place Mall, if you will. Bougie.
Nope.
Yep, nope, I wouldn't either.
Nope.
Anyways, okay, so that summer we spent a lot of time at your house too. Interestingly enough, my mom was incredibly sheltering my whole life, but your mom and you were people that she actually trusted. So I was allowed to go to your house whenever, which was super awesome. You guys volunteered at Los Golondrinas Museum a lot.
Well, no, my mom worked for Las Golondrinas.
Oh, okay.
And we got the option to also live there. I don't really know all the specifics on that, but yeah, so we lived out there, and my mom worked in the office.
Okay.
And yeah,
I remember
and
the house you guys had was...
I was voluntold to be there.
Voluntold? Yeah. And I got sucked in, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
We sold snow cones at the entrance, and we sat there just talking and gawking at girls our age all day. That was our... That was the days when our main goal in life was to kiss and touch a boob. I mean,
that's still my main goal every day.
Obviously,
snow cones would be cool too, but kissing girls, that's like I wake up in the morning, that's like, okay, action item number 1, and then coffee. Maybe coffee first, depending, but
yeah.
too private.
I hear you. To clarify, I didn't mean our goal was to touch each other's boobs, because we did that anyway. But
I mean,
no,
that should be a different episode, right?
Yeah, no, that different podcast, man. That's not here. This is Extraordinary Joe's.
Okay.
I do have a lot of fond memories of selling snow cones at Golondrinas and eating them until we were fucking sick. It was phenomenal. But you guys lived right up the hill from Los Golondrinas, walking distance if you needed to, and we actually did a couple times.
Well, it was definitely walkable. I mean, we were probably a mile away from the museum proper, but I mean, we were still on the museum grounds, so
crazy. That place is huge.
Furthest exhibit, but yeah.
Oh, dude, before I forget, do you remember when your mom was changing the tire on the truck in your front yard?
Shifted and almost fell on us?
Yes.
I'll never forget.
That was fucking
I don't
nuts.
think I've ever moved fast in my life.
I know, and luckily, through some miracle, the damn the truck landed on the tire. Like, it was separated from the hub, but the tire kept the truck up in the air, so we were able to get the jack back under and jack it back up. That was fucking nuts.
That was crazy. Like, because I always think about that. Even like when I grew up and was in the mechanic field and all that stuff, and I would talk to people and teach people on proper ways. I always reference that story as like, always make sure on level ground, and even when you're on level ground, watch out because shit just moves. Facts.
Absolutely. Okay, so anyway, that was sort of off topic. I just that memory has always stuck with me, and I was just wondering if I had never seen something happen like that crazy before. Like, we didn't have videos and shit like people have nowadays. You can't just get online and watch some crazy videos. So to see that in person, it was crazy. Now, okay, so we had the end of 6th grade, the summer after 6th grade, then we went to DeVargas.
DeVargas Junior High.
DeVargas
Conquerors, yeah, whatever. It was still model store, and I don't know why our colors were fucking carrot orange and baby shit brown, but
carrot orange and baby shit brown. with white
Yes,
highlights.
he is. I said, shout out back to those old school days.
Yeah, that was good times.
Because now it's anymore, is it?
It's still DeVargas. Oh, actually, I think they shut it down recently, like completely.
I thought they do. I thought I heard it was a Milagros Junior High.
I mean, I don't live in Santa Fe anymore. I haven't lived there since 2014, so that's all news to me. Santa Fe is, you would not recognize it if you went back there, dude. It's just
I'm one day go back. Actually, like I feel like I need to.
no,
But I also
totally.
feel like my heart would hurt, but not in a good way.
Yeah. That's no, you're spot on, dude. It's the south side of town where, I mean, not even out as far as you lived. You lived past the downs, well past the downs, but getting off of the highway onto Cerrillos Road, there was nothing out there. There was the outlet mall. You remember the outlet mall?
Yeah.
Okay. That was about it all the way until you got to basically Violinda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that entire strip is filled. There's a super Walmart, there's a hospital, there's fast food restaurants, there's car dealerships. It's the whole strip is filled now. And then you get into
Wow.
town, there's new roads that cut between old roads, there's breweries everywhere, there's these multi-story condominium style like apartments. It's dude, it's nothing like it was when we were kids. It's crazy. It's kind of hard to find your way around now, like as if it wasn't bad enough then. But it's nuts now. Anyways, going back to DeVargas Junior High, I have a lot of crazy and good memories with you there too. Do you remember our librarian that passed away?
I do. I don't remember her name, but I remember that happening.
Same. That
And
was
that was
nuts.
crazy.
Yeah, that was probably my first experience with death, aside from like elderly people and family. And that was a very weird feeling to be in junior high and experience. Then, I don't want to say specific names, but do you remember AA who passed away? The
I do.
8th grade. Yeah, that was.
I do. I remember. You're absolutely right. Like the librarian when she passed, like that was weird because yeah, aside from like old relatives and things like that, you're like, oh, your great aunt passed away, and you're like, oh, okay.
Right.
Like it didn't. Not that it didn't mean anything, but like it just, I didn't feel connected. But when I remember them like basically calling us all into the gym and telling us that, and just like there's that eerie quiet, and everyone's like us kids like all of a sudden like realizing like the gravity of life. It seemed like because we just saw her, like she was literally just like probably 90% of us had talked to her within that last week.
Yeah.
And now she's just gone in like the most random, weird, like unfathomable way. And that was weird.
That was weird. Now
That was a weird concept for me to understand at that time.
Same. That did shit to my emotions that I didn't understand and didn't know how to deal with. That was fucking crazy. But yeah, then so that was 7th grade, and that was a major turning point, a major like life changing moment in our 7th grade year. Then to follow that up with the next year, one of our classmates passing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
like bizarre concept of how they passed. Like,
yeah, I don't want to. Okay, so of course there's so many true crime podcasts out there. That everybody listening to this is just as morbid as we are and is going to sit there wondering what the hell happened. I want to know. Well, I will tell you. Our librarian she was like on a hike or something like that, right? She went out to do
she had a flat tire.
Oh, that's right.
Pulled off. It slipped and fell, and if I remember correctly, she was unconscious, but she was face down and drowned in a small amount of water.
Yeah, well, it was the bank. It was the bank of the Rio Grande. She was close to the Rio Grande, and you know how like it forms pools on the side. Well, she fell face down in one of those pools and drowned. Which, yeah, in 7th grade to experience that is odd enough. But then the next year to lose another classmate in just as bizarre, even a more bizarre manner, that was even harder to deal with, because then it was like, oh shit, not only are we facing our mortality, but now we realize that it can happen to people our age too. And a quick brief synopsis of what happened to AA. I actually ended up working with his brother years later. That's another podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very interesting. But AA passed because he and his brother went to a party. He was riding his bike home from the party, slipped and fell, on the grass at Rodeo Plaza, hit his head on a sprinkler, went unconscious, then the sprinklers turned on and froze him to death, died of hypothermia. Absolutely absurd. And I remember the police walking through the halls that Monday with a picture asking people who knew him, and I knew him passing in the halls. I said hi to him a couple times because I was friends with his friends. And so, we had just exchanged courteous greetings a couple times, but I wasn't like, I can't say I was friends with him, but I mean, he was a cool kid.
I was acquaintances with him, I guess, but like I wouldn't say we were like good friends,
Sure.
because some of his friends were some of my classmates in the at-risk program. I was there at DeVargas, and so I remember because his one really good friend, Big A, him and I were kind of close. I mean, not like you and I close. Like we talk, we converse, but like I don't think I would have hung out with him after school or anything. But
Yeah.
like, because you're right, like we talk about immortality, like for being kind of the party stoner kids that they were, and I mean that in a positive way, not a bad way.
Right.
They were cool dudes,
Absolutely.
They were up chill, they didn't rub me the wrong way like some of the other stoner type kids did.
Sure.
So I had nothing against them. They were two cool people. And I just remember being in class and I asked him, I was like, hey, why are the cops like questioning about him? He's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I was like, cool. All right, whatever. And then in our class, in our program, our teacher pulled us all together and started talking about it and him. And I don't think I'd seen anyone like break down like that before. Like,
Yeah.
when you were young kids, like, yeah, we're emotional and whatever, but like this was like a full on, like he lost something in his life. And that was, to be that close to somebody when that happens, that was a weird feeling too. Like the librarian was a weird feeling because of our connection in school, but to like secondhand know somebody,
Yeah,
and to see like their best friend like break down was really, just, I don't have other words for it. It's just weird.
Yeah. And then I remember that gathering in the gym again for our second time in our junior high career. And that was when the Crossroads came out, Bone Thugs. And
Oh yes.
they played that, and his friend Big M read like a sort of a eulogy to him in front of all of us, and that was tear jerking, man. And even for a spoiled brat little 8th grader, I was super like, wow, this is nuts. I can't believe we're going through this.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, let's get off the morbidity for a minute here. I want to go through a couple memories and see how clear my memory is of junior high before we get out of there. So, do you remember the dance? It was not long after that whole incident. We went to a dance and everybody dressed.
We went to all.
Well, yes,
be honest.
Yes, we did go to all the dances, but there's one in my mind specifically where everybody dressed nice, and I guess that was the thing to do. And I was like, no, I don't want to dress nice, so I wore like some super big baggy jeans and like some bullshit ass t-shirt, and showed up, and everybody else is wearing like suits and ties, and even you were like, I mean, you were in your version of a suit and tie. It wasn't a typical suit and tie, but it was dressy enough that people got the point. But I was the exact opposite. And then I got there and people talked shit to me, and you were like, fuck them, bro. You're wearing what you want to do, what you want to wear. So like that made me feel so good that like, even though everybody was looking at me funny and I didn't fit in because of my choice of clothes to that event, you were right there like, I don't care. Like at least I had you. And that was a pivotal moment for me. Like I knew for sure that we were going to be friends for life.
Well, cool. I mean, yeah, I have always, and still to this day, like I've always been the supporter of the underdog, been, the champion for those people that, I don't want to say can't speak up for themselves or whatever, but just, the quiet ones, because, you, like you said, you were a little bit more on the quiet side than I was. And, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't believe in yeah, okay, there's a time and a place to fit in, we'll say. But, 90% of life, it's all about making your own way. And that's all I wanted to do. And I wanted everyone else to be able to have that choice too. And, I don't know why we dressed up for dances to begin with anymore. I think it was just because it was the 90s and that's what we did.
Sure.
But
yeah. Well, anyway, that moment's always stuck with me, and I again commend you and appreciate that. I will never forget that. Now, another moment that was pivotal for me, that I was in such admiration of you. Okay, again, I'm not going to say names, just out of respect for people. I don't want to drag people into our our memories that don't want to be there.
you don't want to get a lawsuit. That's what happened.
That too. Shit, everybody's sue happy. So yeah. There was a girl, and we'll call her IDB. Do you know who I'm talking about? Very short, very pretty.
That's like a lot of the girls I talked to so
Okay. This girl was not in our circle. She was just somebody that we looked at and was like, damn, she's beautiful. Like, we were both just sort of head over heels over her. Well,
all right.
The end of 8th grade year, you got your yearbook. We were doing the yearbook signing thing, and you were just walking around having people sign, and you walked up to her and you're like, can I get a kiss? And she was like, yeah, of course. And you kissed her, and I was like, this guy is my fucking hero. That was phenomenal. I was like, how the fuck did you just do that? Like, she doesn't know you, doesn't know the first thing about you, and you just walked up and asked her for a kiss, and she was cool with it. I was like, that was amazing.
The concept of zero fucks given.
Love it. That memory always sticks with me too. Like, I was like, God, this dude is just exuding confidence abnormally. Like, nobody does that. Who does that? Good job, dude. Okay, leaving junior high, we had that last summer before 9th grade, because in 9th grade we went to separate schools. You went to Santa Fe High, and my mom was, oh God, don't even get me started. Do you know why my mom didn't want me to go to Santa Fe High?
Well, Capital was way closer and easier to get to, but
It was about the same. No, okay, I guess Capital was a little closer, but that wasn't the issue.
Capital. I went to Santa Fe only because I continued on in that at-risk program there that they had.
I was zoned for Santa Fe High too.
Were we zoned? I thought we were both zoned for Capital.
No, you were.
Because I did ROTC over there at Santa Fe High. Go Demons! Woo! And then I did the what was that program called? CATS program, I think it was called. I don't remember anymore, but I mean, it was a program for kids that were, at risk, and I fell in that category because my parents being divorced, and just as much confidence as it was to kiss random girls, I didn't really care in school, and I didn't participate very nicely in school with my classmates. So I was deemed at risk because I didn't care. Not that I wasn't smart, I didn't apply my smartness in the right way.
Fair enough.
I applied my smart act all the time.
Oh, absolutely. I bear witness to it many, many times, and I loved it. Every second of it. You were outspoken in ways that I never could be, and fucking, I loved it. Before we get too far off topic, though, my mom didn't want me to go to Santa Fe High because their mascot was the demon.
That makes sense. I mean,
that's fucking stupid. It's fucking retarded, and it sucked because the majority of our friends went to Santa Fe High. The majority of the people that I came up with in school, from Pinon to Vargas, all went to Santa Fe High. There was maybe a group of 10 of us that went to Capital after that, and my mom rezoned me so I could go to Capital.
But we stayed true. We stayed in contact. We hung out every time we could.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No. I mean, listen, man, you were my best friend, and I wasn't about to change that. Like, I didn't care who I met at Capital. That wasn't going to change. But that summer, I remember being one of the funnest ever because of so many things. But I remember a big thing that you got me hooked on that summer was a couple things: Bloodhound Gang and Pauly Shore movies. We went ballistic, especially Biodome.
That was a great movie. It is a great movie.
Yep. And we had the soundtrack and everything. And I remember countless nights going to sleep on the cot in your room, playing the Biodome soundtrack and Bloodhound Gang's One Fierce Beer Coaster. Now, on that note, had you not introduced me to either of those things, my taste in movie would be drastically different now. And my taste in music would have been super close-minded, and I would have been stuck primarily on rap hip hop. Now, I'm super big. Okay, and another thing we're both mutually super into, which is weird because it's sort of fading out into the distance nowadays, is car audio, the big booming systems.
Yep.
And yeah, it's sort of a lost art now, and I'm still into it, man. I'll be the first one to admit that I haven't grown up beyond that. I fucking love car audio still. I'll show you. We'll talk, on another conversation. But yeah, because of that, I think rap and hip hop has always been my primary music source. But because of you introducing me to Bloodhound Gang, that opened me up to like the whole side of grunge that I never knew that you also showed me. And yeah, my music change going into ninth grade, my music taste going into ninth grade, like drastically changed, and I was open to everything. And that's how I started playing guitar. That's how that led me into playing mariachi music. And bro, like I'm super diverse when it comes to music now. Like I'll listen to pretty much anything except country. There's a few that I'll listen to, but for the most part, I stay away from that genre. but to each their own. You influenced a lot of my decisions from ninth grade on, even though at the end of ninth grade, you guys moved out of Santa Fe and you guys went to Seattle. Is that correct?
Well, eventually, yeah. So we left Santa Fe and moved to Edgewood, and I went to school in Moriarty for my sophomore year of high school.
No kidding. I didn't know that. I thought you left Santa Fe, went straight to Seattle.
No, just when we moved out, so we moved to Edgewood because my mom and my stepdad got back together, and he was living out there, and so they tried to work it out again. And I was basically told to leave my life in Santa Fe behind and move forward.
Yeah,
which sucks because that I look at that now as kind of the big downfall. Is like, I mean, yes, we've always maintained a connection and closeness, but like I leave a place like that's it. I don't really look back on people and try to keep tabs or track. So,
well, okay,
it's a habit that I have. But
on that note, you've brought up another point that I want to discuss, and that was when you left to Seattle. I hadn't seen you for I'm gonna say 3 or 4 years. Well, you left Santa Fe. I'm sorry. I hadn't seen you or heard from you in 3 or 4 years. We didn't have. It wasn't like today where you have social medias and you have cell phones and it wasn't easy to find somebody. And
right.
I remember you came back to town and you called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Santa Fe. You want to meet up?" And we met up and we had dinner. I don't know, fucking Wendy's or something. And even after all those 3 or 4 years, it was so crazy that like you showed up and we were just like, we had never lost a second. We just got right back into conversation. And it's a trip because things had changed so much in my life since you had left, but in the same way, like our taste was exactly the same. Like we were like our taste in cars, our taste in music, everything was still spot on. Like if we were hanging out every single day of that 3 or 4 years, it blew my mind. And that was fucking awesome. I loved that.
No, it's been great too because like I don't know, like you think that people, I mean, especially living in New Mexico is a very unique experience.
How so?
I moved to Washington, where it's surrounded by a bunch of pretentious white people, which is fun, especially if you grew up in New Mexico and you grew up around working class people, and you come out here to. I didn't know what entitlement meant until I moved out here, and I met these kids that based their personalities off how much money their parents made. That was weird.
Wow.
But you're right. We got back together, and it was just like nothing had changed.
Okay, and to that point, then that was just a quick meeting. You were back off to Seattle the next day or the day after, or something like that. And I think that's when I was 18. So I had
No, well, yeah, we were 18, but it was out of high school,
right?
Because it was right after. I mean, it was after September 11th, so
Yep.
It was late. It was probably 2022. Was probably what it was about. And then I moved back to New Mexico.
2002. Hold on. You said 2022.
Oh, yeah, 2000. All right. Yes, it was not 2 years ago. In 2002, yeah, I moved back to New Mexico for I don't know why. I mean, I hated it here. I guess I was unhappy here. I don't remember. But then I got back to New Mexico, and it didn't feel the same to me. It didn't feel like home. It didn't feel. I felt disconnected, which was
Interesting.
really important now that I
Wait,
think about it. But
hold on before we move on from that. Go deep into that. What made you? What created that disconnect? What caused that?
well, so when we moved to Washington, just the Seattle area in '98, to me, my whole world had always been New Mexico and Hispanic culture and everything that comes along with living under the Great Zia, right?
Sure.
And out here is so many different cultures and identities and genres and collaborative, things that come together. And you can go to like a different part of town that is like you can go to a town that's all a part of town that's a Korean neighborhood or a whole Italian neighborhood or a whole German neighborhood. Like it was something that I didn't know anything about. Like you go cruising through Santa Fe and it's all the same. You
Yeah.
go into Albuquerque, all the same. There wasn't a whole lot of variety. And so when I moved out here, my eyes got opened to like, the bigger picture of the world, and it was so jarring because you read about other cultures and other things like that, but getting to see them and experience them and talk to people that are so far different than what you've known, it was great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
So
But then when I went back to New Mexico, and it was very singular.
yeah.
It was just back to I don't want to say it was like tunnel vision, but it was all just this way. It was just
Okay.
one straight line.
Okay.
And because I had been forcefully immersed into this new culture and identity in Washington, like I just felt lost when I was in New Mexico. Like, it took a while before I reconnected with you. I didn't have any other points of contact anymore. Like,
Right.
I was just there, and I felt, I don't know, I felt like an outsider.
So that trip back to New Mexico or that move back was short lived.
Yeah, like 6 to 9 months, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say because back in those days, time flew for me because I was out and about for the first time in my life with my own freedom. So I was meeting new people. I was doing all kinds of kid stuff, teen stuff, and I we had that one meetup, and after that, as much as I had hoped to be in a constant reconnection with you, we didn't have that for that time. And after that meetup, it was 20 plus years before I had made contact with you again. And that's thanks to the wonders of social media. I searched high and low for you and forever trying to find a way to get a hold of you, but I had no clue how the fuck to find you in Washington. Like it's not like I could just look your name and number up in the yellow pages or something. Like that wasn't a thing. So it was probably
And when social media, like, we'll dig down deep into the record bins on this one, but MySpace,
yes. Yes.
you didn't have to put your real name. And I don't know anyone that put their real name. It was all just like some
Correct.
crafty little nickname that you wanted. And so I don't think I used my real name on anything until later in life when even now my Facebook profile, I mean, it has my name, but it's not like you wouldn't know to look for that,
Correct.
I guess.
Correct. And
So
it was just happenstance that I came across that and I was like, oh, that's my friend. and that's how I found you. And I think that if I'm not mistaken, it was 2018, 2019, because I was a late comer to Facebook. I didn't really care to have any of that shit. So
2014, because I just moved back.
You're right.
Just moved to Phoenix to start school after I came back from Afghanistan.
Okay, that's absolutely correct. So 14 years we hadn't had communication. And then I found you on Facebook and shit just went right back to best friends. Best friend Eric Nusbaum. And I was like, yes, love it. And we've been in more frequent communication since then, I'm happy to say. But
Yes.
I do want to discuss whatever you're capable or allowed to discuss of those 14 years. I knew you were in ROTC, and I don't know why I never made the connection in my head, but I never pictured you to be like the military man. So when you came back and we were discussing your military career, I was like, what in the, where did that come from? Like, you're not a military dude. So how did that all come about?
So, I mean, I was a product of a military family. My mom, my dad, my stepdad, uncles, everyone influential in my life, at some point was either law enforcement or military.
Okay.
And I wasn't against the man as a rebellious youth. I just never thought that I would be the man or a part of the man. I when I moved up to Washington, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I didn't really have good friends until middle of my senior year. So for like a year and a half, like I knew people, but they weren't people from back home,
Sure. Absolutely.
And so that sucked. And it just, again, I played into my smart assness, and I didn't apply my intelligence in the right way. So I made my way through high school, and it came to the point, it's like, well, I'm not going to go to college because I'm too fucking dumb and I don't care. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I joined the reserves, the Army Reserves, thinking that would kind of help me, I don't know, get my shit together, I guess. And I fell in love with it.
Wow.
Well, let me put it this way. I fell in love with something that absolutely hates you on a daily basis, but I kept going back. It was the most toxic relationship of my life. And I don't want to give it up. That's the military in a nutshell.
Okay.
So, I joined the Army, and then I had, my Joe jobs, working, repair shops and manufacturing plants and remodeling aircraft and retail and road construction.
You just said something right up my alley, and we are going to have a chat off air about that, because long story short, in 2018, I had an event and it fucking snapped something in my head, and now I am obsessed with aircraft. I'm a fucking av geek hard. So anyway, proceed.
But yeah, so I mean, I stumbled through like my 20s, like just doing shit, but not really going anywhere. But the military was always like my constant. And then, so 2005, I was getting ready to end my first contract, and I'd been in for 6 years, almost 5-6 years at that point. And they're like, well, hey, do you want to go to Iraq? Because, this was, we're full in, the whole Iraq war, Afghanistan too, but no one really talked about it at the time. And I was like, fuck it, I'm 20, let's do this, right? I'm 20, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go to war, because it was cool at the time. And I went, and then I really fell in love with being in the military. It was something that the military clicked with me. Like, all I had to do was my job, shut up, do my job. And then I was good at my job. So it's like, okay, you tell these people to shut up and do their job. And I was like, shit, I can do that, no problem. So then I got to tell other people to shut up and do their job, and pretty good at that, I guess. And I just continued on with it. And then when I came home, after my first tour, and then I decided to go back to college eventually, and I went and I got my associate's degree thinking, that'll be totally good, right? And again, I just worked Joe jobs and, didn't really get ahead. And now I had a kid, and I was like, well, I need to do better. Then I got deployed again, and then I was like, okay, I really need to pull my stuff together. And I got deployed again, and I was like, okay. And this is now 2013, no, 2012, when I went to Afghanistan, and I was like, okay, I'm going to come home. I'm going to get my shit together. And so I did. Like, I came home. I went to school in Arizona. We reconnected.
Yep.
And like my life, it just kept going up.
That's so awesome, dude. And thank you for your service, by the way, brother. I appreciate you. That's super interesting, man. As the young, frisky gentleman we were, I would have never pictured you going that track like that. I would have never pictured that to be the outcome of your life.
I would have never have pictured that either. I mean, yeah, I did the ROTC, but I don't even remember why I did that. I think I just did it for shits and giggles, to be honest.
Yeah, you were good at it though, to be fair. So, I mean, maybe that was a foreshadowing of things to come, but
Maybe.
But yeah, that's very interesting. So you had a daughter. That blew my mind. I was like, "What? You have a kid? Like you are a kid?" Well, okay. So in my mind, we're still those bratty little seventh graders, and we always will be.
Uh,
But so for you to tell me that you had a kid and like had this whole military service life, I was like, "Wow, this is fucking mind blowing. Like, what have I done with myself?" You know, like it kind of made me take a second glance at my life and be like, well, what have I accomplished? I did a stint in college. It's not something I was interested in at the time. Ironically enough, it was a aviation school. I was going for aviation avionics, and and I kind of kick myself now down the line because I'm fucking super, super fascinated by that. And come to learn you did aviation stuff in the military. So like that would have fit perfectly with our track, but it wasn't for me. I dropped out. I did 6 months in the program, and I think it was like a 18-month program or something like that. So I was like a third of the way through it. And I was like, no, I'm done. I'm not doing this. So came home, paid off student loans and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, reconnecting with you and hearing all your stories, I was like, damn, dude, I got to do better too. So yeah, that kind of gave me a little kick in the pants. Plus, that's right around the time my wife and I got married, and she's been a really big influence on my life too, like for the better. She's helped me get better. And I kind of hope I've done the same for her. I can't speak for her, but but yeah, as a team, we've done pretty good. So it's really nice to see that you, and again, I thank you for the many years of friendship and good influence on me. But I'm glad to see that we're on similar tracks still. Even fuck, what are we? The majority of our lives. I'm not gonna say it, but it's a significant number of years later, and basically like the majority of our lives, not basically, actually the majority of our lives, we've been friends. And it's I think it's cool as shit, man. Like you're the only person I have that kind of connection with. You want to hear a crazy fact?
Absolutely, I want to hear crazy facts.
I have known you longer than I knew my brother. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I lived with my brother every day of my life for the most part. Like, you know, aside from the couple of years after I moved out when I was 18. But yeah, like
I love to just run around your front yard with your brothers and just be kids. Just be kids.
Yeah, we touched
like
we
that happens to anybody.
Yeah, we touched dirt and we climbed trees and we threw rocks and we hit golf balls inappropriately and
Red Ryder BB guns.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. We were kids and it was fantastic, and that's the way it should be. I think that's everything I wanted to touch on. Is there anything that you can think of that you wanted to?
Well, I don't know. This is my first real experience with a podcast, if you will. I don't listen to them. I don't follow any. I just don't. No particular reason. So
hey, fair enough. My wife fucking hates them, but but I guess it's not for everybody.
I've influenced you earlier, then I'm just gonna keep my peace about myself on that one. But I'm glad you like
it. Well, hey man,
Shepard. Sorry, I hate him.
Do you?
I do.
Can I ask why?
He annoys the shit out of me.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think he's a great actor. It pisses me off. He's married to Kristen Bell. Like, she's so good and so funny and so talented, and I don't think he is. So, but he was really good in the remake of Chipped. I'll give him that much.
Dude, did you know he wrote and directed that movie?
I believe I did, but I don't want to give him that credit.
Oh,
I know he earned it. Whatever. Maybe I'll get hate mail for this. I don't know.
No. And what's funny is he talks about it a lot on the podcast, and he's the first one to like talk down about it and talk about how bad he did and how like disappointed he was in the final product when years later it became this cult following, you know? Same with Idiocracy.
Oh my God, that was such a good movie.
I fucking love Idiocracy.
I am so mad that like underrated is not the right word for it. Like so many people like don't know.
That's the best documentary ever.
And you got to admit, Terry Crews as the president would be way fucking awesome.
Would love it. I would absolutely love it.
You know?
And Dax's performance in that movie, I would totally hang out with that dude. He is such a dipshit, and I love it.
And that's the thing that kind of really irks me is like he seems like the dude that we would be friends with. You know?
Well, dude.
But I just and I talked about me, you know, kind of helping the little guy. I think he should be very proud of the final product for Chips. I think that was a phenomenal movie. Like, we need more of those dumb cult-like following movies in our life. Like, I'm tired of these remakes where, you know, it's got to be politically correct and culturally sound. It's like, if you want that, make a new movie.
Yeah.
Don't decide.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because. And, like, I'm not going to get too much into it, but some of these new Disney movies, like, are absolute garbage, and we grew up on Disney.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
I agree.
Was like, it's so frustrating.
Now, okay, and not to continue to defend him, I don't want this podcast to be about Dax Shepard and everything, but I was not the biggest fan of him either. Like, I did like him in what's the one with Seth Green and Without a Paddle. Yeah, so I liked Without a Paddle. I loved Idiocracy, and I did like Chips myself as well. I love that movie. And from that, I always pictured him being this fucking idiotic dipshit. Like, I was like, that guy is so fucking annoying. He's so stupid, and like, how do people even tolerate him? And then listening to his podcast, he is not that at all. He is fucking well-read. He is intelligent as a motherfucker. That guy has a degree in... what is the study of, like, what's it called? Anthropology. He's an anthropology major.
Yep.
Like, this guy he keeps up, like, word for word with these astronomers and like, super smart professors of psychology and shit. And he's fucking on it. Like, so it's a whole huge contrast from seeing him play all these dumb shit roles to becoming who he is, an armchair expert as, like, this incredibly well-spoken and smart dude. But yeah, he's to news update you. He has accepted that Chips is a great movie and he loves it. So
good.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah,
and I hope one day him or someone like him will continue to make just some blatantly dumb, feel good movies.
Love them. Absolute. How High,
right.
Half Baked.
Give a shout out to my man Samuel motherfucking Jackson because Snakes on the by far one of my most favoriteest movies in the world.
Oh my God!
I don't care who like it. I don't care who wants to talk smack. That is the most ridiculous movie, and it is the greatest movie.
I'm sorry.
I love it.
Most ridiculous movie. I'm gonna have to disagree with you there politely and go with.
You get like thousands of venomous snakes from all over the world onto one plane in Hawaii. That you, come on.
Respectfully, I disagree. Sharknado? When the fuck are you gonna have a Sharknado? Is that? I have never in the history of the world heard of a Sharknado being a natural occurring weather event. Nor will we in our lifetime.
Hopefully. I mean,
the second that shit happens, it's over.
Change? I
don't know. Anyway, brother Eric Nusbaum, best friend Eric Nusbaum, it has been a pleasure. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know you're a busy dude. You've got a family and you've got cats and you've got guns and it's, it's a whole thing, and I've overstayed my welcome.
Right now, the kids in school and the guns are safely put away.
Perfect.
Just,
well, that's the way we like it.
You got to be responsible gun owners.
I applaud that. Yes, I agree. All right. But anyway, Thank you again for taking the time, bro. It's always good to see you and always nice to chat with you and get a nice catch up. And we will be doing this again in the future.
I look forward to it.
Definitely. Agreed. And yeah, I'll text you later.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Take care.
Later.
Later.